the flag of the United States of America and every republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To remind everyone that these proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following the approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of the proceeding. Yes.
Hi, my name is Jared Soto. I'm the Economic Development Specialist at the Carbon Chamber and Economic Development Corporation.
Good to have you.
Get our last name.
Sounds good.
Excuse me, sir, how do you spell your last name?
Yeah, SOTO. The Jared's usually, because there's a million ways to spell Jared. That's usually the sticking point.
Again, your title is?
Economic Development Specialist at the Carbon County Chamber.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks for being here.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 16th, 2025.
So move. I'll second.
First and second, discussion, all in favor?
All right.
Municipal outreach updates?
All right. So Dawn and I and Dennis, we met with Jim Thorpe after they had reached out to us to talk about open space. And we just discussed potential future projects for them. Dawn and Wildlands are gonna work on getting like a site assessment of some of their properties together, and then they're gonna talk to their council about it, but that's really all we have for now, just kind of the beginning of the whole process. So.
And I gave my little presentation.
Yeah, we did our
So
workshop
kind of mini
presentation.
workshop,
Yeah, we
and-
did like a mini workshop for them. So we went there and did our presentations and then talked about it.
Were the things you're gonna assess, are they borough property or is it just in the area that might be other owners?
They were interested in specific properties, but so we need to
That
determine.
it's
if
borough property or just
Yes. This. to see-
landowners or what, other, okay.
Jim Thorpe.
Yes.
Did you just meet with the borough manager or did you meet with the council?
No, we didn't meet with the borough manager. We just met with a couple of council.
Oh,
Just a few council members.
that's what I'm
And again, it was
Thank you.
started out as the workshop.
Oh, that was about that.
Connor Rogers there.
Yeah, Carl was there.
He's also-
So that's the Jim Thorpe one, and I reached out to like the Lehighton region again, and I only heard back from the borough, which is a little disappointing because the townships have more land, but that's okay. So we're gonna try and get something scheduled, just waiting to hear back from them, so.
And that's by our secretary. I'm
That's
joking. Joke. I'll be on. All right, any other questions? All right, update on partnering with Wildlands on the climate informed conservation plan.
The letter was approved, so we're gonna give Dawn and Wildlands a letter of support from the board, and the commissioners have provided their own letter of support, so hopefully that makes us, pretty good applicant.
And the grants are due on December 5th, so we have most of the narrative done. We met with the grant representative and it sounded like they thought it was a good project, so fingers crossed. I'm not sure how many applications there are going to be because it is a very large area. It's not just Pennsylvania, it's a number of states, but I think we've got a good application, so fingers crossed. And yeah, so it's due December 5th, and then we should know in February.
Any questions? Okay, one. Discussion on encouraging municipal protective plans for land preservation. Correct.
Oh, you skipped number 7, I'm sorry.
It is the,
2026.
Yeah, just.
I have that as 8 on mine, by the way.
Wait, really?
No, I don't.
It was now, we just made it.
Mine is- All right, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, you all have a sheet with the 2026 proposed meeting dates. Pull out your calendars. If there's anything that doesn't work, let me know, we can change that. I checked, none of them are around holidays. So we're good there. I know like our ad board meeting one, we had to move for the November meeting because it was like on election day. Better, whatever the holiday just was. So,
Well, they're consistent, which helps.
yeah.
So it's always the third, I mean,
Yeah.
you were able to land on the third
Mhm.
Thursday, so that's, you don't even
We'll
have
have
to
the
think about
same-
it then.
Magic conflict for
That's good.
April and October then, my busy week for you, using this
Oh,
for the
yeah.
election.
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll be moved to the commissioners conference room for the same months we usually are, which is May and October, but they'll tell us that once we set these. And I'll have to note that in the public notice, but if everyone is good with these, they'll go in the paper as a public notice. But does anyone?
We need an action on that or not?
Yeah, I think you.
Motion, I'll make that motion to accept the proposed meeting dates for 2026.
Second that. So the first and second on this, next year's meeting dates, all in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Now, back to seven,
The other seven.
discussion on the
Seven.
encouraging municipal proactive planning for land preservation.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if you guys kind of have any suggestions and also. Let you guys know that Dave and I met with Jared Soto, the economic development specialist. To discuss like a potential site selection, which I'm gonna let Jared explain a little bit more.
Yeah, so just with site selection in general, I've been in the position about 7 months now, and it's just more of us kind of realizing like, how do we, as Carbon County, become more competitive as PA is becoming more, making more of an initiative through Business PA, through Governor Shapiro's office to, like there's 5 main industries, like with like agriculture, manufacturing, life sciences, robotics, technology. And every time I do this list, I can't ever remember the last one, but there's 5 of them. So, but it's basically kind of saying like, you know, how do we kind of make ourselves more competitive if like these opportunities are here? How do we kind of like just know from the areas that whatever the individual municipalities decide, like what is appropriate for them? Like, so how can we be more these opportunities aren't gonna just try to like, they will in a way kind of find it, but the more things that we could kind of do to be more proactive with like marketing existing buildings, existing land, letting them know like the transmission from the electric transmission, the gas lines, their access to the interstates. And if we could really be more proactive with that, we might be able to kind of really kind of say like, these are the kind of sites that might be available. You know, you still have to go through talking with the property owners, things like that then too. But how do we make like more of an active engagement to do those kinds of things instead of just waiting for that kind of stuff to kind of come from us then too? So I reached out to Ann and David to talk about this because I think a lot of really like what the work that they're doing, it really kind of aligns, like it's a very collaborative effort, like whether you put a business somewhere, whether you're preserving your land, whether it's the open space part of it, like how do we kind of like really align to like, what do municipalities want? I used to be a borough council member up in Lansford, and it's just like that. I just know from just like, and I'm not trying to speak for all the boroughs like that, but sometimes you're just so into day-to-day operations, like how do you see like the larger picture of what you want? And like the municipalities are like really in control of this, like, you know, that you could really set the tone for like, if you don't want something to go there, like you kind of say like, it's not gonna go there, but if it's zoned a certain way, like, you know, you're kind of opening yourselves up. So I think it's just more our idea to kind of say like, how do we kind of work with the municipalities to kind of say like, hey, if you want us to come in here and offer this, great. If you just want us to go away and never talk to you again, great. But like, just so we at least know where everybody kind of stands and where we can make these more proactive efforts. But we're all dealing with development of land in some sort of way. So how do we really kind of like talk about this kind of collectively? So there could be better planning. So when these opportunities arise and we can really gather that information from municipalities, how do we then get it out? And we have a regional marketer, it's called Penn's Northeast, who covers like basically the Northeast region of Pennsylvania. So like, once we could really start being competitive with this, on the site selection part where we are willing to kind of say, hey, this land is available for development, then we can really start getting information out to there for them to help us out. But at the same time, based upon the Carbon County Comprehensive Plan, we gotta strike that balance, and we love the area that we live, we love our nature, our nature and our history, I think are like the two greatest parts of what we have in this area. So we don't want to be like negligent with that. I think we just want to really just make sure that like we're conscious, being very conscious of like what our individual municipalities would like. So they could create the environment for what the tone of their citizens are speaking to, because our citizens drive everything that we do. So I think it's just making sure that we're kind of just developing these kind of collaborative efforts between our offices, and I'm hoping to do more collaboration with the county in multiple ways kind of going forward, because we have these access to resources, but we often operate in silos. So how do we kind of really just open the doors to like what we could all do and what our limitations are, just so we know where everybody stands, if we have to pick up something else somewhere else, but just so we kind of know what our capabilities are in the short term. So just down the road, that's what I've been out to 8 municipality meetings so far. I'm not really trying to address any of this initially, just trying to be like, I'm a fake, like, at least, I've been here. I just want to be like, hey, I'm here, and they'll tell me what to do. Like, we're not trying to tell anybody what to do. We just want to make sure, like, can we have a better understanding of what everybody is doing? So then if there is ways that we could supplement or add to what they want to happen, how do we best do that?
Would you, have any insight on these data centers that are being proposed all over the country?
Yeah, me and Dave have been having a lot of conversations about that. We're gonna try to get out,
Bring it up.
yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely worth bringing up, because I think like I just know from like even Penn's Northeast, like they kind of have had inquiries to us about certain lands, and they're kind of giving out,
But the reason I'm bringing it up is, keep reading in the paper. They're proposing one up here at Maury Road, 700 acres of land up there, right next to the Pine Run Association, the High Water Authority that we just enacted on. I think somebody ought to start raising their hackles about that deal. Penn Forest Township, because we just protected their water source. I don't know how much water is gonna be sucked out of the ground up there for the data center, and the amount of electricity. Where's all this stuff coming from?
I think that's a great example that kind of speaks to like, right, like if we're just like kind of behind the curve, like even just related to data centers, like do municipalities have ordinances in place to like, protect their own rights related to this? And if they don't, it's kind of like, whoa, what if this happens to us before we even could put certain protections in place to really modify it? So that's what David and I are trying to do, is really just try to like, we could be just an informational, we just want to really like be educational at this point. Like, how do we get information out? So like, there's different types of data centers based upon the size, the usage, the cooling systems, like, so it's not just automatically like a 2-mile area. Like there might be just one that's like just a smaller parcel that, then they all have different kinds of uses then too. So I think we just really want to be like proactive and be like, here's the education behind it. Like what, maybe this is just like, no, like we're not going to do it, but maybe is there an opportunity, the more you know about it then too, how you can make those decisions better but it's all resource adequacy. So like, if you're not monitoring resource adequacy, then you're going to be kind of behind the curve, or you might end up like, for lack of a better term, you might screw yourself like in the long run, if you really don't understand the kind of upfront stuff with it then too. So, so that's what David and I are working on. We got a Cumberland County gave us like a profile, kind of like what they did, and we're kind of creating one for Carbon, and we'll hopefully get that out to the municipality soon. Just to be a bit more education on what they are. We're just learning too. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Jared, I'm Dan Kunkel. I was appointed by the commissioners to be a consultant to this board, because Dennis up there on the screen and my wife and myself were the 3 chairs of the referendum that got passed to raise the money for the open space program and for the farmland and the open space preservation. And the 3 of us went around the county and talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of groups of people. We talked to a large percentage of this county during that year, that campaign for the referendum. And 83%, as you probably know, voted for this. What I would like to tell you is one of the things that came up frequently was about development and concern about development, and are we pro-development, are we against development? And we kept telling them, we're not against development. We want development to be directed at the right places. We don't want our open spaces chewed up. We want to redirect things back to the boroughs and to the places that are already developed, not keep chewing up more land. So we're all for what you're saying about the boroughs and using the buildings that they have and attracting new businesses so the people of this county told us that they liked that. And that's what I'm trying to say here. I don't know if Dennis wants to say anything, but we really would like to get that development back toward our already developed places.
Mhm. Yeah, just a quick update, at this past week, Tuesday's, County Planning Commission meeting that I'm on. It was discussed at that meeting, there, Ivan Meixel, who normally reviews these development plans, recused himself because of his connection with Kovach with this, property that's being proposed, so that we have someone else that will be reviewing the plans. So the County Planning Commission is reviewing the plans. It may take 1 or 2 months. The Borough of Nesquehoning, I'm sure, is reviewing it. And I'm just looking at, there was another large article in the Times News tonight. Bitfarms details data center plans and jobs potential. So there's a long article here. So I think both the Planning Commission and the community are in the fact-finding stage to see what this is and what the demand will be on water resources and electricity and obviously, and noise. Obviously, my concern is that it will not negatively impact the borough of Nesquehoning and the residents, whether that be water issues or electricity rates. You know, we've looked at other places around the country, and in this article here, they're saying they're going to use 3,000 gallons a day. The average data center uses 300,000 gallons a day. So, and I believe this is up to 4 buildings, so they would be starting with 1 building. So we're in the fact-finding stages at this point, and a whole group of us will be working on reviewing the plans.
Where would Nesquehoning get that amount of water if there's such, not saying 3,000, 30,000? Where in God's name are
Unless
they
they
gonna
can,
get that?
unless they can recycle it, I have no idea.
300,000.
Municipal water typically.
Pardon?
A lot of the data centers use municipal water.
Municipal.
Yeah, I think a lot of it
That-
depends
that definitely
on the type
impacted
of
getting a lot of
cooling system that you
Yeah.
use. There's evaporative cooling, and that's like on the larger ends, but there's also like coil cooling, which is a lot more expensive, but then like also brings down the amount of water used. So I think there's just different things that we're learning about.
Benefit of municipal water is it's consistent in terms of what it's got in it, so that you can kind of guarantee what's going through the system.
Does anybody have any idea how much water comes out of the coal tunnel up there? At the Oxbow?
I'm trying to find that out today, actually, because I was kind
Oh,
of curious
okay.
about that. And I was having a little bit of trouble finding out where exactly they're gonna draw the water from that county. I am gonna try to find that out, obviously, but I haven't found that out yet.
All right.
So,
I think they had 3 public meetings.
We did.
But also continue with that, so this is what me and Jared are really working on, exactly what he said. We're not against development, but we wanna shine a spotlight on 5 places that are gonna be perfect for development. So that we don't have areas where developers are just coming in and saying, oh, that looks like a nice spot, and then they push their way through. We're starting to see that in some municipalities around here. You know, developers bought up a bunch of land, and they're gonna try to push it through. And see, that's the kind of thing that we wanna try to stop and eliminate and try to, make sure that development's done in the right places.
So I'm a supervisor in Franklin Township. Most people know that. The zoning map is the thing that is developed, so you know where things are gonna go, right? So having access to every municipality's zoning map is probably first and foremost, right? And then understanding that as a municipality, these are all assets of yours, right? Your land is your asset, right? So I know in my township, people don't want development, right? So I think that for us, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but for us, we already have our plan. And the county's plan would probably be looked at as a negative on a local level, like, because guess what? Why would I want Carbon County deciding on what comes into my township, right? So you're gonna hit probably a little bit of roadblocks in that manner, because while it's great to say, I'm gonna look across the county and see what areas are good, that could be a moot point, because that municipality could be like, thanks, but no thanks. You know, so, you know, and like you said, tapping into what the townships want or municipalities want is that second level of it, so. I just know how our area is, they don't like anybody telling them what's gonna happen.
And Fred, I think they would have to get a zoning variance.
Depending on what they want, I mean, we're talking about a plethora of different economic tools or entities.
Is there any way Farmland Preservation Board could get involved here, that they couldn't use the top grade soils in the county? Have to use lesser grade soils, unlike Adams County, they bought up 8,000 acres of pure farmland.
There was
Is there any way we could put a restriction on it, David?
there was a state solar. What, the solar, it was a guidance document, it wasn't a requirement on grades of soils that should not be used for solar arrays. It's not a requirement, but it was put out by the Department of Ag to say these different types of soils would be inappropriate to lose for farmland and be taken up by solar systems. You can't restrict it, but it was a policy they wrote.
Right. Put a roadblock there for.
Negative, it doesn't bar it from happening.
I think the message I've shared at the planning commission meeting, as Dan said, we're not against development per se. But we've had some bad experiences in Carbon County with industry coming in and pollution issues. And I think for me, if I was an Esquehoning resident, is that should, and again, maybe I listened to too much business news, but NVIDIA just, I don't know, like their profits went up 10 times. Like these are billion-dollar corporations making billions of dollars, and no one in this county or in Esquehoning should be negatively affected with their electricity rates or their water rates. In fact, there should be tons of benefits if this comes to pass. So to me, that's kind of like my standard message that yes, it's an investment, I think, of a $350 million, but everything of all these AI companies, it is staggering the amount of money, of profit that is happening, and no one should be negatively affected, and especially our water supply. So that's just a general theme I have.
Any further discussion? Anna, you wanna say something?
I kind of want to go off of what you were saying, Fred, about how you think like, or you said your township doesn't really want the county input potentially. Is there any way like that it could be thought of as more of like Jared and the county like working with the municipality? Like, I don't know, how can we like team up instead of battling?
So I look at the everyday projects that come along, right? So when we're putting up a pole building and we've got the feedback from the county, right? The more interaction the county does in a helpful manner in those little tiny ways builds that relationship. So I found that it's pretty much two different entities, they don't have anything to do with each other, and to be quite honest, at some points, it's sort of confrontational, like, hey, why did you do this? Like, well, they should be on the same page. So if it's development with county and a development with say Franklin Township, they should be working in conjunction in a collaborative manner on every little tiny thing that's being developed, right? How do you at one point care and then not care all the other times, right? So the point is that that's a relationship. So it's like anything else. When you have a job, you build relationships. I work with many municipalities in South Jersey, Burlington and Hampden County. So my relationship every day, interacting with them. Down the road, I don't know when I'm gonna need to get a road plowed out so I could get to an outage. But I know if I have a good relationship with them, I could get that to happen, you know? So those little tiny things I can't stress enough are the most important, you know, being there when you're not necessarily in the spotlight to be there. So that's my input on that.
That's good.
When I
Building
was-
trust.
When I was at Reading
Building
Chamber,
trust.
they did a project, the county and actually Hamburg School District and all the sending townships did a joint collaborative zoning. So it was basically a school district zoning plan, and that township wanted development, so it's in and around Cabela's. So the folks in Tilden Township were like, yay, and they wanted a 55+ community and a bunch of other things. Amity Township was like, dear God, no, thank you. But they were able to look at each other and say, we want it, you guys don't. So when a project came along, as a group, they could say, this is where we in this region want to see this, not fight against each other or have somebody come on top of them and try to pick them off. So it was a really good project because the school district needed the financing, needed the funding with the tax base. But then the townships felt like they had a lot better interrelation on picking where these projects could end up in a positive manner.
I know Franklin Township only and Lehighton have a joint zoning, so that's it's important, but the building of, I mean, a lot of times, like I said, I can't stress it enough, it should be a partnership throughout, and that's how you build a relationship.
I think that's what Jared's doing, which I think is great, is just introducing himself to our townships and municipalities, and then just knowing that he's there if there is interest, you know, in a project or bringing in a business, you know, so that he could be the one to kind of help, you know, through our
Yeah,
office.
I like everything you're saying,
Yeah.
just I shake my head, cause it's just like, right, like,
Yeah.
cause it comes across one-sided, you know, and like, you just like, right, it needs to be a part. In order for any of this to be successful in any kind of way, it needs collaboration, partnership and trust to really drive it, you know.
I can just,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna let us from the right come to the middle and move forward.
Yep.
People always say that.
Fred, if I could just add a few comments.
But
Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. No, it's exciting to have Jared here. And just to reiterate and to strengthen what he said, that a lot of municipal officials are just dealing with close-in challenges. And what we're trying to do with this proactive planning is, in my mind, it's a three-legged stool. We have Dave with the new comprehensive plan and Greenway plan that I think needs to be out and presented to the municipalities. We then have Jared with the economic development opportunities, and then yourselves as the open space advisory board. So what we're trying to do is get municipal officials to be thinking long term. and where they want to protect land and where they want business and industrial development to occur. We all know right now we're not, you know, we're hoping for high value conservation projects to come in. And right now we're in a bit of a lull. Thankfully, the ag program is moving forward, and Dave and Anna are working on a number of new farms, and we're excited about that. But we're hoping to generate interest in coming up with an open space project, or one or two or three. So I think in 2026, we plan on partnering together and getting out to all these municipalities and trying to get them to think long term.
If I may, I know budgeting is happening right now in the municipalities, right? And since I've been on this board, my mind is at a local level as well, right? So we know that the more successful land preservation groups are municipalities that are funding it, as well as the county and interest. So I would like, I mean, I have a couple of people from Franklin Township, but at some point, being able to get to a point where the municipality, especially Franklin Township in our case, starts buying into the land preservation. And that doesn't come easy. That comes with getting input and putting it out there. Unfortunately, like this round of budgeting for us, we didn't put it out there, but there's something that are gonna be breaking for us that we could introduce it. But I think at that point, you know, the groups within that municipality or that township should sort of get a coalition and say, hey, you know, like everyone did for the Open Space Advisory Board, and say, this is what we want. How do we do it? And impress upon the elected officials to implement something. So it's a matter of a tax or a line item. I mean, we throw line items in for all kinds of things. We could throw a line item in for preserving land. That's just
And Fred, there's an opportunity here. You know, municipalities, I don't think need a whole lot of money up front, maybe for an appraisal. What's exciting is there's DCNR funding, and the county open space program is the other side of the match. So we're just looking for willing landowners who want to preserve their land. But the matching funds by the county open space program would move a project forward in a positive way.
I think we should think about leveraging the video that all of you just did as well. Like, how do we get that out to people who have properties? I know Anna said you just put it on Facebook, but you know, that's a great video to really hit people, I think. In the heart, like that they would want to do something like this. It was so well done because of all of you, you know, so we should think of ways that how we can get that out, like consistently. So the municipalities, townships, yeah.
At our last meeting, we had talked about doing like a possible landowner workshop. And I had talked about doing like a possible, like just open space public forum to kind of answer these questions. And as we're talking about this, like maybe we should make that a sort of economic development and open space, tie it all in. Kind of public forum to answer questions, and or maybe even do a sort of workshop for the comp plan, economic development, open space for municipal officials. You know, the kind of thing we plan like 3 months out so they can really get there. But we also talked about, blanking now. Katie had brought up working with the County Bar Association to have like lawyers let people who own land know this is an option, and that would be a good space to do the video. I haven't gotten to get that in the works yet, but I'll keep that in mind so that like that's a resource I'll give them, you know, and that would be an easy. What are your options? Here's a video on it.
So Dave, do you have data on the land ownership, like who owns the most land in the county? Is there data on that?
With that.
Land ownership, like acreage and, you know,
The tax?
across, I'm saying, is there, I mean, do you have that, a populated list of who are the largest landowners in the county?
Oh, like the landowners in the county?
Cause
We
I,
don't have like a list, I feel like, that it was available that I could look at right now, but if we need to put one together, I'm pretty sure we could compile that information.
The solar
I
companies
have people in
do.
the park.
The solar companies call us every other day.
Well,
my God. Because, like you said, maybe appeal and say to people that have the land,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't know who has the land,
Yeah.
you have to know the data first.
So for our maps that we took to the regional workshops, Maggie at Wildlands made us a map that had like, I don't know, the largest parcels, like parcels of like 50 acres to 100 acres, and then 100 to like 200, 200 to 500 acres. So like maybe, I don't know if that's an option with like people, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, we could do that,
Yeah,
pull that information
yeah,
and target those people for some sort of workshop or
yeah, I
something.
guess we could find that information, yeah.
Probably some way you can do that with AI
Yeah.
and parse through it pretty quickly. I mean, it might not be all the way accurate, but it can probably skim through a lot of research.
The great way would be too, with the county GIS and too, if we had like a topographical map, like, and they could just really just outline a lot of that then too.
I mean,
Share the
If you're
information.
going down that path, I mean, knowing the data is the most important. I think.
How much funding has been encumbered by the open space committee? So far,
The program?
the program, yeah, you have any idea?
You should know.
Yeah, I know, hang on, let me think, give me a moment.
What you're thinking, Cat, on.
Probably what, like 20 or something, how much did?
Yes.
It was 180 about,
Okay, so
680,
680,
yeah, 680,000, around there.
That was with Pine Run and
Yeah,
one of the
River
mountains.
Sika, those two, yep.
I think Dave should know that. No, sorry.
Just did the farmland map.
Right.
Marlene, to your comments, I think when we have these joint meetings, it should be kicked off by that 6.5 minute video
Definitely.
Yeah.
as an introduction to set the tone.
Good idea.
All it takes is a first municipality to do it and then they'll catch on.
Yeah.
Thinking your minutes here, you're gonna have the meetings with these municipalities. When do you have, Harryville coming on board?
He skipped us.
I know it's a little simple, but
I,
I'd like to be present for that one.
yeah, I'll let you guys know when I have like a Lehigh region workshop scheduled, but so far I haven't gotten them to get back to me. They haven't gotten back to me to schedule anything, so I can't force them.
Like I said, I'm buying our second.
Maybe she can go to Garyville.
Harryville needs someone to pick up their call. All right, anything else under that discussion? All right, any further discussion?
What about our December meeting? We need to get together or should we cancel it? I mean, it's gonna be general update of.
Send that out in an email.
I just, there's usually not much happening
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas anyway, and rather than wait while everybody's here, I
Yeah, good
would make
idea.
a motion to cancel our meeting.
I'll second it.
Way to go, way to go.
I'm at 45 hours of budget meetings this past week. And we're still not, I gotta go there right as soon as we're done. So I'm trying to stall.
So more motions.
We're stalled and we haven't done.
I doubt it. All right, go ahead.
Just to confirm, our
Yep.
next meeting would be January 5th. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Oh, and by the way, congratulations, Ian.
Yeah,
as
congratulations.
your supervisor.
For the club.
All in favor?
You wanna